Good afternoon, everyone. It is Futures Brizio here, Sunday afternoon, June 20. What is today? The 28th. It's a beautiful day here, another hot one. Uh, Left a post earlier today just alerting you of this. So, hope everybody's doing great, and hopefully we'll get some people to join. So, I guess I'll just kind of just talk a little bit here and see if we can get some people to join the stream. And hope everybody's having a great weekend, and I hope everybody had a great week in the markets. And if you're watching this recorded afterwards on the channel, obviously make sure you smash the like button. And any questions or comments, leave them down below. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate that. Uh, and today, going to talk a little bit about, uh, I guess, what I would call another shift or change in my uh, kind of my trading mindset. It's not a huge shift. Nothing fundamentally has changed in terms of what I look at. And again, guys, in terms of this video, um, since I don't have like a GoPro or a selfie stick or anything, I'm just literally holding my phone. So if I'm not looking at the camera, I apologize. I'm just holding the phone around chest level, so I can see where I'm going in case anybody else is walking or whatever. Um, because I am on a sidewalk, but it's a pretty busy area a lot of times, although it is hot out in the middle of the day, so not a lot of people are out walking this time of day, but it doesn't bother me. So, so, anyways, get right into it here. So, you guys know that I trade, forex and some futures accounts. Have forex, and then for futures, I trade currency futures, and a handful of grain markets. And for forex and currency futures, I use my CSI indicator, which, if you've been on the channel any length of time, you're very quite familiar with that. And you also know that I have experimented with many different settings and many different time frames for using the CSI and what time frames I'm trading off of. And just in general how I'm implementing that. And I've gone back and forth, as you've watched the videos, with the the CSI, using, like I said, different look back periods, different time frames, etc. And I do, journal my trades. Um, I'm not a real super duper journaler. I do write down, and I go back and forth in my journal. I have like an Excel spreadsheet I created for journaling my trades, and I also have an old fashioned trade journal that I bought on Amazon. I'm trying to debate which one I like better. So, typing it into an Excel spreadsheet or handwriting it into a journal book. So, haven't really decided what I like better. And then I take screenshots of all my, well, again, I don't do it consistently, but I'm trying to be better. Take a screenshot of the chart right before I take the trade. And I have a Discord channel, which really nobody's on. I honestly, I just use the Discord to post my screenshots to myself. So I write something in the journal, and then I can go to my Discord and see the actual picture of the chart. I just take a screen grab from TradingView and dump it in my Discord, uh, so that I've got a record of the chart. And so I've gone back and forth with changing around time frames and look back periods with the CSI, and then looking at um, my data, which is, one good thing about having a trade journal is you get that data, right? You get that information. You can look back and see if there's any trends. And hi there, who joined here. Sorry, I'm going to mess this up. Is it GI Gisser Fryer? Anyways, how you doing? Anyways, so with the looking at that data, I've come to a couple of conclusions. And one of them is that, when you're trading a lot of markets the way I do, I mean, I have like 25 Forex pairs. And then I've got between current in currencies, in futures, I've got 12 markets, right? Seven currency futures, five grain markets. That's a lot. Okay. It's not really a lot, though, if you have a very structured setup you're looking for and you're using higher time frames, especially now. If you're trading on short time frames, that's beyond doable. I mean, you really do have to stick to just one or two markets if you're trading on, I would say, anything under a 1 hour chart. But on longer time frames, when you have a very mechanical structure you're looking for, mechanical entries, mechanical setups, you can have a lot of assets because you can very quickly just click through your charts, and if it's not there, it's not there, right? So it's pretty simple. And so with that said, looking at my data, I found that basically, in a nutshell, I'm spending too much mental energy uh, using the shorter time frames. My last several uh, videos on the CSI indicator, I was using a 2 hour time frame for Forex and for futures. And I'm just finding that that 2 hour time frame across all the markets is too short because I'm still finding that I'm over trading and the quality of my trades, especially in Forex, are not great. Because obviously, even with a longer look back period on the indicator, it still generates a lot of false signals and it gives me a lot of brain drain in terms of just the analysis time that it takes me, especially on a short time frame, like say a 2 hour chart where you're getting 12 2 hour candles a day, right? So you almost have to look at the charts every couple hours and look for and potentially looking for setups every 2 hours, and that's just causing me to spend too much time looking at charts. It's a little bit of brain drain and, quite frankly, over trading, and it's just not necessary. Now, in the futures markets, it's different because I tend to only hold futures for the day. Now, you have seen me hold grain trades overnight, or if I forget to close it before the market closes, because grain markets close at like 2 o'clock Eastern time. But for the most part, I consider my futures trades like day trades, even though I take them on slightly higher time frames, on anywhere from like a 1 to 4 hour chart. Um, and I'm still using the same type of price action market structure. But particularly for grain trades, I also add in some couple of moving averages, as you've seen, and I found those to be pretty straightforward. And I get a few trades a week doing that, and it's that's been working out pretty well. So I don't mind for futures using, like I said, the shorter time frames because I'm generally not holding those trades for more than one or two sessions, and I do consider them to be day trades, even if I end up holding them overnight. So, but for Forex, it's a different ball game. The Forex market goes through, it's a very efficient market. So you do get a lot of consolidation times. You do get a lot of choppiness, and then you'll get wild volatility. When you're dealing with two currencies paired together, you're subject to all the volatility that those two economies have. But it is a very efficient market. So there's a lot of sideways, more sideways action in Forex, I think, than other markets. And so the bottom line is I've decided to make a little split. And for the Forex market, I've gone back to the daily chart only, using the CSI indicator with a 21 period look back. Okay. So early on, when I started implementing the CSI, when I got back into Forex, even before I found the CSI, I was using the daily chart. And, with the daily chart, you really only, if you're looking for a trade. Now, once you're in a trade, that's different. You have to manage it. But if you're looking for setups, the daily chart obviously only forces you to look at it once a day, right? Especially if you're using like an indicator based strategy like the CSI, to look for entries. Um, you only have to look at it once a day. You know, you can wait till the candle closes, 5 o'clock New York time, or wherever you are in the world. Uh, Look at it after that, or look at it the next morning. Um, Nothing really super big is probably going to change much overnight, but I would probably tend to look at it after the New York close in case there's a potential that sets up during the London session when I'm asleep. And so by doing that, um, I basically have come down to where I only have to look at the Forex charts theoretically only once a day to look for setup. So, and even within that, because it's a daily chart, I mean, how many pairs are actually going to give you a setup from day to day or week to week? Probably not many. I went through them yesterday, and I found maybe out of the 25 or so pairs that are on my watch list, I found maybe three that have current setups. So it's a very small number, and that's good. Um, I found three with like current setups, and I found maybe two or three more that are at a point where I kind of put them on like a watch list, but there's no current setup. But they could be over the next, couple of sessions. And so that's what I'm doing with Forex. And so I think by doing that, splitting my time, and especially because Forex is so many pairs, 25 pairs, and that's by choice. I watch that many because, again, if you're using a set mechanical strategy and you're trading on a higher time frame, you can look at a lot of markets because you're not trying to scalp it on a 5 minute time frame. Like I said, in which case, you can't follow that many assets. I don't care what market you're in. You only be able to trade, one or two markets because you just can't split your time across so many on a short time frame. But on a long time frame, you can. And like I said, when I got back into Forex, because I got away from it for a while, as you guys know, if you've been with my channel used to be called Forex Breezio because for years that's all I traded. I got away from it, went to futures only for a while, but old habits die hard, and I do like the Forex market. So I went back to it, and but I left the channel named Futures Brizio. Um, and But I do like the futures market too. Not to say that it's any easier to trade because it's not. People say, it's a smoother market. I don't know about that. There's volatility in every market. There's price manipulation in every market. There's stop runs in every market. But the nice thing about futures is it's, unlike Forex, which is decentralized and a lot of potential, with shady brokers to manipulate price. That's what I talked about on my video, was yesterday or the day before when we talked about that, about Forex brokers and prop firms. Go back and watch that if you didn't catch it. But, for uh, futures trade on central exchanges. And so there's much, much, much less risk of any funny business being done, but it doesn't mean there's going to be no volatility. There's not going to be any choppy price action, that markets don't go into consolidation for extended periods, because all that happens in futures too. Okay. But, centralized exchanges mean cleaner fills, much, much less risk of any weirdness with price. There's no spreads, you know, it's, it's a cleaner market from that standpoint, but I wouldn't say it's easier to trade. Some people are like, well, I only trade futures 'cause it's easier to trade. Well, I think if you're trying to like scalp and day trade Forex, that's a tall order just because of the way Forex, the market works. And because it is such an efficient market, I think that's a fool's game. Although people claim they do it, but I think that's a fool's game. But for futures, because because again, there's no spreads and you know, it's cleaner fills and all that, and just less risk of manipulation. It's easier to get in and out, and it's a little more predictable from that sense. Um, and so the bottom line is, I just think that going to the Forex market, back to the daily chart, use the 21 period CSI for the look back. So a 21 day on the daily chart, 21-day look back, smooths it out enough, but yet keeps it um, nimble enough to, give me good entries. But I only have to look at it basically once a day when the market opens or closes. 5 o'clock market closes, that day candle closes, the indicator updates, and then I can, check all my stuff on my watch list and see what's if there's anything setting up. Sorry, guys, it was a truck going by, so I don't know if you could hear that, but anyways, so but with futures, I'm going to stick to trading on the shorter time frames, like that 1 to 4 hour time frame, and using you know again market structure, maybe moving averages to a degree, especially in the grain market, and using the CSI indicator still in on the currency futures too, because I have it coded to um, on the CSI indicator would be that whatever that currency is against the DXY, which is the dollar index, and that's how it draws it on the currency futures. And so the bottom line is that's it, right? Daily chart for Forex, 21-day CSI, and more of a day to light swing trading on futures using the again like the 1 to 4 hour chart. And I think that will cause me to be more relaxed. I won't have to spend a lot of time going through Forex in the morning when the futures markets are getting ready to open for the day. I'll be able to just kind of look through those. I already have my Forex watch list set up, and if there are any trades coming, possibly in Forex, I'll have alarms set. And other than that, I don't have to look at that again until the next day. And then futures, even with futures, only requires me to look, you know, potentially for a couple hours, keep an eye on it in the morning in case the setups come. Because sometimes in the futures market, setups don't come right at open. They might come at, 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So that requires a little bit more attention. But even still, that's not bad. But I'm not going to be having a lot of brain drain and analysis time looking through 25 Forex pairs multiple times a day and looking at 12 current futures markets too. It's just too much, way too much. So, anyways, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Um, so it is a mind shift, like I put in my post this morning. Um, it's not a big shift. I'm not changing the way I trade in terms of my setups, my indicator, um, and just how I look at the markets or what markets I'm looking at. It's just a matter of honestly, it's about time frames. And you guys know I've made lots and lots of videos over the last few months going back and forth with time frames and settings on the CSI, but I would say more so with time frames. And so I've kind of, after again looking at all my data from recently, my wins and losses, and just taking time on a weekend to just really be honest with yourself about the amount of time I'm spending looking at charts versus doing other things. I just said, you know what? It's not worth it in Forex. Just go back to the daily chart. And if I only get, 1 or 2 trades a week, or maybe some weeks, it may possibly even none, I'm okay with that because I still got my futures market. And, on those time frames, I'm likely going to have, you know, more than a couple of trades per week. Still might not get one every day, but I might uh, potentially get one, at least one per day. And it's just a lot less time, a lot less stress on me. And, like I said, what I just call brain drain and analysis brain drain in looking at so many different charts. And then it just kind of waters down your focus. And then you actually get to the point where you dread even going to your charts. Like, oh, it's like it becomes like a job, a chore where you're like, I got to go look at these, 37 charts now again. And it's like, now I can just on the daily chart very quickly click through my 2025 Forex pairs very, very fast, make a note of any or set any price alarms for anything on my watch list, take any trades that maybe are there, which is going to be very, very few, and then move on. Then I'm done until the next day. And obviously, if I'm in a trade, then that needs to be monitored and managed. But, again, that's going to be a very small N. And then I can spend more of my time just, looking at futures, which again, on a 2 hour time frame or whatever, still not going to be a ton of setups. I'm still not going down to where I'm scalping like on a 5 minute timer. I'm not doing that. I'll never do that. Um, so even on futures, it doesn't require a lot of time, but it's still being on that time frame. It's still a lot faster than forex, and um, you do have to watch it for at least a few hours during the day, uh, because setups might not come right at the open. It might take an hour or two. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today, guys. And I hope everybody again is doing fine. I take my glasses off here so I can see my screen a little bit. So yeah, it looks like it's a quiet Sunday. I had a couple of people join early, but that's okay. This will be posted on the channel. I'll dress up the title a little bit and maybe put a better thumbnail because it kind of defaults to my channel thumbnail, which isn't very exciting. It's just a picture of some prices. Um, but yeah, so I just that's what I wanted to talk about today. And guys can hear the birds. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's a mockingbird. So um, they're such funny birds. They make like 45 different sounds, and they call them mockingbirds because they can mimic and mock so many different other types of birds, and they can have beautiful song like that, and then the next minute they sound nasty, with like screeching chirps. And so they got to be the most vocal bird out there, and that's how they get their name, because they can mock other birds and mock and mimic other birds. So I guess mockingbird sounds better than mimic bird. So yeah, tons of those here. It's probably the most popular bird here. So that and doves, just which are basically pigeons. So brown pigeons. But so anyways, um, I guess I'm going to leave it there. I just want to kind of highlight that. So if you're watching this, make sure you give a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're just finding it for the first time. If you have any questions, comments, especially since we didn't get anybody on live today, leave them down below. And I will bring this up on my next recorded video on YouTube, which will be either tonight or tomorrow. I'll make a video just kind of bringing up to speed based on the daily chart with Forex. I'll talk about, what's on my watch list, which won't be much. Like I said, there's a few pairs, and that's it. And then we'll take a quick look at futures. Although again, the future stuff happens more on the fly because of using the shorter time frame. So it's a little bit hard to look ahead with those, but we can look at general trends anyways. So all right. So listen, I hope everybody has a great rest of your Sunday and weekend. Do something fun, relax, if not, and we'll get ready for another trading week. I think I did mention I'm heading out of town again on Wednesday, so I'll be around, probably cut a couple of videos tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday, and then that'll be it probably for about a week. I will be trading during that time. Um, but I won't be posting any full videos. Maybe I'll do a couple of more of these live walk and talks like I did last week while I was away, but I won't be sitting there cutting any long pre-recorded videos the way I usually do when I'm in my home office. So, okay. So guys, take care. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope it was helpful. Take that for what it's worth when you look at your own trading, and what time frames you're using and how many markets you trade. um, are you spreading yourself too thin, or are you leaving opportunity on the table? you know and is being spread too thin, is that causing you to make lower quality trade decisions or over trade or whatever? So or are you good? So that's it, guys. Have a great day, and I'll talk to everybody soon.